Hey, it's 28 millimeter RPG. It's Rick here once again. Looking a little beardy lately. It's the Christmas spirit. So, happened upon this interesting, uh, awesome thing. RPG is dumb. I guess he hosted a game here for Max and the gang here, which I thought was pretty awesome. I'll play you a little bit here. Just um and this is awesome. Here, let's listen.
Okay, sir.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Not only has the skin been burned off of you, but you also have the
That was awesome. Dave got I guess something happened to his character and he's having issues. It's awesome. And they're role playing. They're trying to stay in character, which is great. Let's keep on watching this.
white creamy gelatin of the monster still stuck to your skin in certain spots, making it ultra uncomfortable. Every movement hurts. What is your mental endurance?
Mental endurance, 17.
That's pretty good.
But you're a willful guy, and despite the agonizing pain, you are as alert and ready and as functional as you can be.
Did you see that? He didn't even have to use a dice roll. And that was awesome because he just asked for the person's, I mean, I use a virtual tabletop so I can see everybody's stats and stuff like that. But I think it was pretty awesome that he didn't even have to roll, which is kind of what I do with a lot of stuff. If they're just flying a ship or whatever, and the guy has piloting skills, I just kind of measure against the character's skill level and don't have to make a roll. It's kind of natural unless something comes along that goes ahead and creates a disturbance within the piloting of the vehicle. In this case, it was just he was checking the guy's mental endurance, and he's had pretty high mental endurance for I guess this is Riffs, which is Palladium, so that is a fairly high number for a regular human. And he's gonna try to breeze through this no matter how much pain he's feeling.
Sir, are you sure you don't have any pain medication for this soldier, sir?
I do not.
Sorry, Davey.
I go up to Connell's character. I forgot his name, and I kind of sneak up behind Bobby, and I look at that place on his neck, and I slightly poke it, and I say, "Does that hurt? Does that hurt?"
So a little bit of bantering between the characters too. That's pretty cool. I just wanted to bring this up. I'll have a link in my description for RPG is Dumb. Thanks for Seaner for bringing this guy up to my eyes on YouTube. He's the one who brought him up, on his channel. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So a lot of theater of the mind. These guys aren't playing with any kind of tabletop that I can see. And from what I've seen from his other videos, he doesn't use any kind of virtual tabletop. He might share some images and stuff like that. In fact, I think he shares a couple images here, but that's all you need for, and that's why I'm on right here right now. We are going to be showing some interesting stuff here. So let's get onto my tabletop here. So this is Fantasy Grounds. A lot of you guys are like, "Ooh, Fantasy Grounds is really hard," and stuff like that. Okay, this is just the Traveler Fantasy Grounds. This is the one that you buy. There is a Traveler in there that's free as well. This is one that you buy, and then you can get all these bonus cool things. But all I'm saying is you don't have to use everything in the virtual tabletop, and I do not, mainly because it's just too much distraction, too much stuff you have to set up. Like for example, if I was to use my mental powers and think of every kind of situation that the players would come into within my next session, I couldn't in my in all possibility determine every situation where I would need a map, where I would need tokens and stuff like that. That stuff isn't. It's not. I mean, it's not hard to set up, but when you are allotting yourself a time slot with other players to play a game within an hour and a half to 2 hours, you don't want to fill up all that time with looking up different things. Like for instance, for me to go, okay, well, let's have a spaceship, okay? So what I would do is we would go into our, you see my cursor over here on this side. Your virtual tabletop is not going to look like this. Like you can, yeah, I'm just right clicking on top of here, and I can clear this. I can unlock position and lock and unlock position. So I have this unlocked, so I can place it here where I want. Otherwise, it'd be behind my lovely face over on the side here, and you wouldn't be able to see anything that I'm doing really. So right here, it'll lock it in place so you can't move it now. And this is your basic interface in front of you. Up here will be the players coming in. So we have some PC players here. So I'm just going to grab DBoz here, and I'm going to take ownership just by right clicking on here and take ownership. So DBoz should end up becoming part of the party up here if that's the case. And then I can go ahead and do stuff as DBoz. This is his character sheet. So the typical strength is, if you're playing D&D, it's the same sort of asinine thing. Character, all the typical stuff over here. Instead of having hit points, your hit points are calculated a little bit differently in here. So your hit points are actually going to be your strength, dexterity, and endurance. So, and everything in here is already set up. So all I use in my, not set up, but when you want to go ahead and drag and drop things into like equipment and stuff like that, say I want to drag in some weapon into here. So I have a little quick bar at the bottom here, so I can bring up things real fast. And say I want to bring a blade into DBoz's character. So all I would do is I would go into the equipment section here. So you have these little tabs here: main, skills, equipment, personal, actions, and stuff to do with the ship. So if you're assigned to the ship, it's going to be on here. In this case, it's the Orland Calm, which is a ship which I used in one of my previous playthroughs. Now let's go to equipment, and we are going to drag and drop this blade into there. So it goes boink, and you got the blade in here. Now all you have to do is equip the bloody thing. So you have equipped or not equipped, like not carried at all. And this one here means you're carrying it, but you have to equip it, because if you're just carrying it, we're going to go back to the actions. You'll see, okay, it does allow it to be on there. So let's go to equipped, and then your actions. Yeah, it should have the blade in there. So you can assign strength or dexterity to it if you want. Usually, if you've got a gun or something and you don't equip it, or you don't carry it, it won't show up here. So you have to make sure it's showing up in your actions in this case. And this is where you do all your rolling. So if you want to go ahead and attack something, let's go ahead and bring the task difficulty up to like let's go average 8 or higher. So if we do the attack, I just double click on there, or as a player, you can drag and drop this into one of these slots on the bottom here. So let's say get rid of this image here. So I'm going to kill it. And I put this attack into this slot number 10 here at the bottom, right below the traveler icon. You can see it like popping up. Now, when I just click on that, boing, it does the attack. So you can see it tells you what kind of a success and everything. That's easy. That's all you need is dice, character sheets, and maybe an image or two. Sometimes I will go ahead and put up an image, like for instance, the Nebuchadnezzar, just for the players to kind of preference. Now this one I had to go ahead and grid out so that if I want my players to say, okay, I'm over here, or Rye is over here, or this character Adamus is over here in this section on the ship, or he's up above. That's all I use a map for. I don't use it for combat. Sure, I might have a certain situation where, yeah, they might want to go ahead and go, okay, what's up ahead? We kind of have a clear idea of there's in Adamus's situation here that there's a couple of doors beside him. He can visualize that quite easily and everything, although it is taking away a lot of the theater of the mind aspects to it. So, I mean, you can make these ships look even more simpler. You could have just like a circle for where the bridge is, a circle for, or a square, elongated square for a corridor. So you know where the players are. Oh, I'm in the bridge, or I'm in the corridor. Oh, I'm going down into the engineering section. You just have a big square block in there. Say, okay, so you put your character on there, indicating that he's in the engine section. But that engine section could have like little, crawl spaces and stuff like that. You could have the imagination working on those sort of aspects and have a simple diagram of the ship that's just basically to kind of indicate something on the wall of your ship that says you are here. It's kind of like a little mini map, or it's on your comm and you can bring it up. Oh, I'm here on the ship. Okay. That's all it's there for. Man, I'm gonna sneeze. Need some hot chocolate to go ahead and circumvent everything. And that's all you need. Like, to set up this is a little bit of time, because you got to go ahead and match the grid on here and stuff like that. Then you got to make, you got to have the icons, the tokens and stuff like that. Start adding enemy tokens and having to prepare for making encounters and stuff like that. It gets tedious. And if you're playing Theater of the Mind, you want to be kind of spontaneous and go with what's coming up, what pops into your head, and contain everything within everybody else's mind without interfering with everybody's imagination. It's it's a little weird at first, but once you get used to it, you're like, oh, okay. Like you're seeing with the gang there at RPGisDUM. It's everybody knows where they are, and they're playing together. They're using their imagination, and it's great. And they're all trying to stay in character, and this is awesome. So, great video on that. Because that's cool. You don't hardly see that. You just nowadays all you see is people moving their characters around on a grid, and it takes ponderous minutes out of their time schedule. And by the time they're doing like 3 hours of moving down a corridor because they're arguing semantics about different things, out of character, or they're arguing about mechanics or, rules and stuff like that. It takes you right out of, wanting to watch it, and you just kind of tune out. So I don't want to do that to you guys as viewers of the channel. And that's why I have my games going totally theater of the mind. Like I'll bring up an image or something like that, like this. Boom. That's all I really use images for, is to bring up like a diagram of something. This tells you something. This gives you some ideas, some workflow for the players to kind of, sync in different names. They know there's different names. They can inquire with the computer what Oron is like, what Aramu is like, or Roseum or Ruam. They can ask the computer just like as if you were asking stuff on your computer, tappity tappity tap. Okay, this is what display. We're googling everything. And that's basically how you play, is being true to the character. The character is using the computer to go ahead and bring up these things. And of course, me as the game master says, I am computer. This is what Ruam is all about. It is a subtropical blah, 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 blah. And I can just stream off whatever I want about what Ruam is. Which is good to have like a book with all your IDs in it, so it's solid, so that you're not, so that it keeps continuity within your session. So all your stuff that you've written down in here is easy to like pull out, and you can circle names and stuff like that you pull out random names, and have an idea of how this session is going to roughly go if they go a certain direction. But players are pretty ingenious in not going the way that you think they're going to go. And that's where a virtual tabletop ends up failing sometimes. And you end up absorbing too much of your session time preparing a map. So we get a map, we got it up. Now we got to go ahead and we got to unlock it. We got to put a grid on here, so we choose a grid type. Okay. And the tint, the color picker, we're going to use a white color, say okay. And grid type, you can do different, we can do hexagons, and let's do that, and we'll go ahead and we will mask it and stuff like that. Now you got to drop down some characters on there. So now you got to go into NPCs. You got to go ahead. Now, since I have a bunch of things already open in my library here of modules, so bring up all my modules so you can see what all the modules are about. You can bring up the different modules that are open. You can activate them and stuff like that. So I bring up the activation module. This tells you who can see what, if the players can see it, if you can just see it, it's entirely up to you. So you can see some of these are player blocked with the big red X's on it. Stuff like that. You got to kind of keep your eyeball on. You allow the players to read certain things, like maybe just the traveler rule book is set aside for them so that they can bring up stuff if they want to. But usually nobody bothers with that. They ignore all the books and everything, because we are completely involved in what the characters are doing and how they're trying to get out of the problem that's in front of them. And they can play with that, or they can decide on which star system they're going to explore next, or how they're going to do that. Are they going to go ahead and do some surveying, of it? Are they going to bring up any kind of known information of these systems before they go there? And that might be an adventure that happens that I didn't even think of. So they go to the ancient archives of some planet and try to bring up information about different places around them. And that's an entire adventure. And there might be some spies or something that are like, why are these guys, keying in on? Maybe it's something that we're interested. Maybe they're treasure hunters or something. It's it's however you set up those NPCs. Because I always have NPCs already set up. I'll have like maybe we'll have some spies that want a certain character on the one of the players. Maybe it's related to some one of their backstory ideas, somebody that they met and made enemies with or something like that. I can inject all these kinds of different weird things and have them set aside and pop them out into existence anytime that I want to. This could be occurring while they're looking for this general information at the archives. And boom, you don't have to bring up a map. You don't have to drag in a bunch of NPCs. I have everything written down in here, and I'm keeping track of how much damage everybody has taken and stuff like that. And it's easy. I just keep track on in my book, and I let the players know, oh, you're feeling this way, from the blast that you've taken, or whatever. Oh, your arm is useless. You look down and you see that half of your arm is missing, and the players can go ahead and portray the game from then on like that. So it's it frees you up from having to be stuck trying to get a grid map up, trying to have everything showing properly. Um, so it just slows down everything if you're using way too many maps, and like if you're using them as tactical maps and stuff like that. If you're being rather like, you can have character like in individuals on your maps just like this, and just kind of subtly uh say, oh, well, I'm here, or Rye is over here, and this character is going into the engineering section. So everybody's doing their thing. They don't have to count out how many squares they move. They don't have to get into ticky tacky little things. They just move their characters along eh, on wherever they are going to, what part of the ship, and they play it out. This isn't tactical at all. This is just a positioning so that you um kind of reinforce the idea of not meta moving around anywhere. So the players, that character Cobb down here knows that he is in the engine room, and whatever's happening here with Rye in near the bridge is happening with Rye in the bridge by himself because there's nobody else around. If Rye calls out, help, help, who's going to hear him? Somebody on the, maybe if he's using intercom, somebody will hear him. But if it's like a general call out vocally, nobody's going to hear him from that section of the ship because nobody's around. So with the meta out of the way, that helps. So players can't go, oh, well, I'm gonna go. I hear Adam Rye calling out. I'm going to go ahead and move to this way. You kind of set aside all those assumptions and stuff. Oh, I hear that. No, no, yeah, obviously you wouldn't. There's a couple of solid there's an iris valve here. There's an actual hatch over here, and this you got all this area, which is the cargo space between there. You aren't going to hear shit. So it's pretty evident that if you're trying to meta game stuff, it kind of reinforces that you can't meta game certain things. And I'm not a big fan of metagaming in that so I prefer to have some sort of things that are kind of stated. Yeah, if you're here, you're not going to be able to hear what's going on across the ship. What else? Yeah, that's my take on so just the basics. Just get everything on the sheet. Use the WEP drag and drop system, in the virtual tabletop for your weapons on the character sheets and or abilities and stuff like that. That's always cool. that works. Your character sheet is going to work properly. Um, that because it takes care of all the adding and subtracting. So when you're when if you're playing your player, say D boss here, when he uses a blade, you know what he's going to have for bonuses and stuff like that. It's already calculated there. All you do is roll the dice, click for the unarmed attack, and then I say, he hits with a mighty blow, and then you go ahead and roll your die damage. And in this case, if you get a bonus and you get success, which adds more damage, then it will add it. It will do it for you. You don't have to go, oh, do I add this? Do I add? No, you don't have to worry about that. It's already done for you. So just use it that way. So your character sheet is invaluable here. So easy, just, click. I would need a strength check. There we go. A strength check is done. And that one's a failure according to this check. Of course, the value was 8. Task difficulty was 8. And the roll was at 5. So obviously a fail. An average failure. So you have degrees of failure and stuff like that. So it's the cool thing. So character sheet, easy. All the players can look at their own character sheets. Bring up an image occasionally. So I have an image of Nebuchadnezzar. Let's go ahead and bring up an image of the jump map. The computer brings up this. And away you go. You can decide where you're going to go next. I don't have to go, well, there is a planet over, there's a star system over here in this subsector and sector, and then, in this parsec and blah, blah, blah. And, or whatever. You don't have to trying to explain this in the mindscape is, don't just show a picture of the map. It's a lot easier. Or if it's a D&D game, show somebody's hand-drawn map, the mountains and a scroll showing like a road or something and some trees over one side, like a child did it. Because, not everybody's artistic or whatever. The map maker was, trying to draw this while being chased around by an ogre. So it was quickly scrawled on a map while he's dodging the club swings, and they find the dead corpse of this embedded map making bard on the side of the road, and they pick up his map and they're going, oh, this must be the treasure he's looking for, and away you go. It could be crude, it could be whatever you want. I try to keep it like this is a computer representing what you see in the vicinity. I could have maybe a visual of like rings and stuff like that, and like a oscilloscope kind of like view screen showing the different dots everywhere, and they can decide what planet they want to go to with that kind of interface. It depends on the flavor of how you want to present an image. So depending on whether or not you're artistic enough to go ahead and do that or not, I just prefer to do it the easy way. I start using AI and everything because I'm a full-time working guy. That's what I do. Every day I'm working, and yeah, I promise to go ahead and bring out a video, and sometimes I can't make that because somebody doesn't show up to work, and then I have to switch my schedule. Instead of working in the morning, I end up working the evening because somebody can't close the store, so I got to be there, and then I go there, and so I've changed my schedule around. And by the time I'm done, 8:30 at night, whatever, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be wanting to come down into my bunker here and start, doing something else when I'm just dead tired and my brain is on, I want to shut off mode. So, and that's the thing, my scheduling and everything, I don't have enough time to go ahead and build all these ship maps, come up with like a million and one characters on the fly, to be, punched in individually as characters in the NPC spot here. So I'm going to the okay. So this here, a Borgid trooper. So I might go ahead and type down some basic notes of what they have. In this case, it's a Tech 9 laser carbine, and the typical traits of a soldier. How many hit points they would have is 9 plus 6 plus 9. So I can I can gauge, whether or not a blast from one of the players is going to be significant or insignificant in hurting them. You see, there's a protection here of 8, so I know it's going to absorb some damage against inertial weapons. Um, Not so much on the laser end, but any kind of kinetic weapons that'll be protected against stuff like that. It kind of gives you prompts, or you could write them down. Like I say, you don't have to have a individual. I could throw a little icon in this thing here, like a token. But why? Because I don't know if this trooper is going to be used, or this creature here is going to be used at all, or whatever. I don't know. My The players decide on where they want to go, and I try to keep it as free form as possible. So I'm not restricting them at all. They definitely, well, I do restrict them in some respects. If the ship's broken, it's broken, and usually it's from the roles that they do. Not knowing how to pilot the thing and running into the side of a hangar bay or something like that will cause quite a bit of damage. So um, they live by the cards the dice they roll anyways. um what else? Yeah, just maybe image or two. Use, you know your mindscape, your theater of the mind, to imagine what is happening. And if you need clarification, clarify in character, that sort of thing. It's very easy to do. There's always going to be either an NPC or maybe an AI or some sort of, like, maybe it's some sort of a device that clues in some information to the player once in a while. Something like that. The player can say, "Is there any possible means to open this door?" And then the the communications device is, well, there's turning the handle on the door. Apparently, this one is a handle device, not one that scans your hand or something like that, or recognizes by scanning your eyeballs and determining whether or not you are eligible to open that door or not. So um different things like that can be answered by things in the game, instead of asking the narrator, tell me, what is it that I must do to open this door? Do I need to knock? Do I need to press a button? Do I need to turn the handle? A lot of times it's like, yeah. I, it don't matter to me. You open the door. you know you have to think in that kind of respect. You have to kind of cut out all the unnecessary thing, like watching a movie. You don't see them going to the bathroom unless it's meaning that there's going to be a fight scene in the toilet or something like that, or there's going to be some sort of a meeting up in the bathroom or something like that. You don't see them eating unless they're eating at a banquet in front of a bunch of NPCs that they are colluding ideas with. It has to have a reason for being there. It just can't be, oh, by the way, you have to go pee. Oh, by the way, you have to do a dookie, or whatever. You don't have to, bring that up. A player might say, hey, feeling like my guts are a little bit agitated. I'm gonna go to the Biffy here. You can totally do that. And if he decides to do that, I might think, this is an opportunity. The NPC, assassin decides that they're going to go ahead and confront the player while they're in the bathroom. It just adds for like have the players dictate where they are wanting to go, and then judge the what the NPCs would do in accordance to that. So if they're going to the bathroom, hey, maybe this is a good time to do the ambush thing. Then make it happen. You don't have to pull out a map that shows the bathroom. You don't have to pull out the tokens that show the positions of every kind of Tom, Dick, and Harry around in the 100-foot radius of the entire establishment. You just go on wing and a prayer. Other than this, yeah, that's all I use, and that's all I will ever really use here from now on. I mean, sure, I'll play a board game of D&D on here once in a while if need be, or whatever needs to be done, Pathfinder. But when I want to actually role play, we're going to role play and we're going to use the Mindscape instead. So that's what I'm kind of putting out here. Few things going on besides, having to work. Um, and I'm keeping busy here. I'm building a new pedal board here. I do have a picture, but I haven't uploaded it here. I could pop it up, but it'd be kind of weird. You guys are all role players and stuff. I don't think there's many musicians on my channel watching this stuff, but I've been building a pedal board here for my trip back to BC. I gotta go back there this spring, so I might have a couple of videos about that or something like that. Who knows? And I also do songs for other people. OGGM, he has recently reached 1,000 subscribers, so I applaud that man for getting himself up to that point in his YouTube channeldom. And I told him back when I said, "Hey, if you reach 1,000 subscribers, I will write a song for you, for your intro, and if you like it, you can use it." And usually, how that conversation goes is, um, I'll ask them, "Hey, what do you imagine your theme song sounding like? If say for example, you have a favorite song that you like. I want it to sound like this, or I want it to sound like this band. I want it to sound like something classical music or whatever it is." Then I will take that idea and I will go ahead and create it and then run it through a few times, iterations until I get the mix right, and send it to them. I do everything, like the only thing I really have that is automated is the drums, but I do tweak the drums. I use like Easy Drummer, and then I play the guitars in the background. That you can see over here. I have my guitars. There's some of my guitars. There's some of them. There's more of them over there. There's my round light for giving me some vitamin D on this side of my face. And then I'm busy, writing a song or two or whatever, and then sometimes I'm writing some stuff for my own sake. It's random, but here I just wanted to get into this conversation of bringing up RPG is dumb. Um, the layout of how I use virtual tabletop, because everybody thinks virtual tabletop. They might think oh, he's moving tokens and stuff. No, in our case, it's all Mindscape, theater of the mind. And we go from there. Anyways, hope this wasn't too kind of, me going off onto kind of different aspects at different territories, me going off on tangents and stuff. If you like what you see, subscribe. Just do it. Just hit that button. It's free. And you get to hear more stuff from me. Just show up. I put out a video and you just show up and you watch it. It's sort of entertaining. Okay? Ciao.